Hey everyone, I'm Robert, a real estate agent with 3 decades of experience. This is the raw truth of a legendary property fight. If you love it and want to hear the whole saga on your commute, comment Spotify to have the audiobook available. Hit subscribe for more real estate revelations. They built 112 condominium units on my coastal property, not by mistake, but deliberately. I inherited 28 acres of Maine shoreline from my grandmother, fully paid for and untouched. I went to visit the land for the first time in nearly 4 years and found an entire luxury complex where my dunes and pines used to be. Paved parking lots, decorative lampposts, families unloading kayaks and bicycles into units they'd paid $625,000 each for. The Property Association president, a man who'd never gotten his hands dirty but wore a Patek Philippe like a birthright, told me to my face I was a nuisance squatter trying to defraud hard-working people. Said his legal team had confirmed the land was derelict, so adverse possession made it legally theirs. He'd already secured over $22 million in pre-construction sales. Here's what I did. Absolutely nothing. Let them finish construction. Watch them install siding, lay sod, pour patios. Then I walked into federal court with my grandmother's original 1968 deed. What would you do if someone built a community on your land? Drop your state below. My name's Leo Vance, 51 years old, marine systems engineer, widowed. I drive a 2011 Ford F-150 that needs a new fuel pump every other year. Nothing special about me except one thing. My grandmother left me 28 acres of Maine coast worth about $5.7 million. Eleanor Vance bought that land in 1968 for $9,500 cash. A child of the Great Depression. She kept every record in canvas-bound ledgers that smelled like salt air and engine grease. When she passed in 2020, she left me the property with one note tucked inside the deed. Don't let the wolves take what's yours. I didn't visit for almost 4 years. Grief, my son starting medical school, 80-hour work weeks. But I paid property taxes every November, $8,200 annually. Never missed. July 2023, I finally drove up to scatter her ashes, turned off the coastal route onto the old access track, and my heart stopped. The cedar groves and beach grass were gone. In their place, 112 modern coastal condos. A granite entrance monument read, Seabreeze Reserve, a sterling luxury development. I checked my GPS 3 times. This was my land. At the security kiosk, a guard stopped me. Residents and guests only. I own this land, I said, holding up my phone with the deed image. He chuckled. Sure, pal, and I'm the governor of Maine. A black Tesla Model X pulled up. Out stepped Julian Sterling, late 40s, tanned and toned. How interesting. Listen, friend, if you're looking for contracting work, my assistant can take your info. I'm not looking for work. I'm the legal owner, my grandmother, Eleanor Vance. Ah, he pulled out his phone. Our title firm did an exhaustive search. This parcel was abandoned. Adverse possession makes it eligible. It makes it eligible if taxes weren't paid, I interrupted. His smile turned thin. You've done some homework. Dangerous amount. He produced a business card. Elena Rossi, our counsel. She'll explain why your claim is without merit. I took the card. How many units are sold? All 112. Pre-sales total just over $22 million. Families start moving in by Labor Day. Then he photographed my license plate. For our security records, in case you have any ideas about damaging property. He leaned in. And believe me, people in your position don't prevail against people in mine. I drove back to my rented cottage, hands gripping the wheel. That night, I spread Grand's documents across my kitchen table. The 1968 deed, every annual tax receipt. Julian had threatened me, documented my vehicle, and implied I was a criminal. He'd also just handed me the blueprint for his downfall. Monday morning, I called Elena Rossi. Her assistant had that tone of polite efficiency. Ms. Rossi is authorized to offer a nuisance settlement of $18,000 if you'll execute a quitclaim deed by end of week. $18,000 for $5.7 million in land? I knew about quitclaim deeds from settling my late wife's estate. It's the legal version of saying, I surrender, even if I'm right. Tell Ms. Rossi I'll see her in court, I said and hung up. I needed a real lawyer. A colleague gave me one name, Cora Vance. She dismantled a utility company in a land easement case. Her consultation fee was $600. I put it on a credit card. Cora's office smelled like worn oak. She was perhaps 55, silver-streaked black hair and a precise braid. She listened to my whole story without a word. When I finished, she set down her pen. Show me your tax payment history. I pulled out an accordion folder. Email confirmations, bank statements, county portal printouts, every payment since 2020, plus copies going back to Grand's first payment in 1968. She reviewed them. Maine adverse possession requires 20 years of continuous, open, hostile possession, and the claimant must pay property taxes for that period. If you've been paying, their claim is stillborn. She closed the folder. But here's what I'd do instead. Let them finish building. I stared. What? If you stop them now, Sterling's LLC declares bankruptcy. Your land gets trapped in a multi-year legal vortex with 112 families who bought in good faith, suing everyone, you included. It becomes judicial chaos. She leaned forward. But if you let them finish, then file. You own 112 completed condos. Sterling's company has committed classic fraud. They'll be desperate to settle because the alternative is indictment. My hands were unsteady. What if they somehow win? They won't. But even if they did, you've lost nothing you haven't already lost. The land is already occupied. The question is whether you fight one corrupt developer or 112 devastated families. It was clinical, strategic, ruthless. How much? I asked. $45,000 in fees, perhaps $60,000. But when we win, the court awards damages and attorney's fees. You'll own the units outright. I had $15,000 in savings. My truck needed work. My son's tuition was due. I'll manage, I heard myself say. One final thing, Cora said. Do not contact Julian. No social media posts. Tell no one. In property battles, surprise is a weapon. I hired her that day. August faded into September. I drove past Seabreeze Reserve twice a week, parking on the public coastal access road, recording on my phone. Roofers nailed shingles, electricians ran conduit. Each time I took time-stamped photos. Julian spotted me in week 4. He made a call. Half an hour later, a sheriff's SUV pulled up. Deputy Alvarez. Sir, license and registration, please? I handed them over. I'm on a public roadway, deputy. He walked back to his vehicle, ran my plates, returned looking pained. Mr. Sterling says you've been harassing him, taking photographs. I'm documenting construction on my property. Check Hancock County records. Parcel ID 7784-332-01. Owner, Leo Vance. Alvarez shifted. If there's a title dispute, that's civil. But he's filed a complaint. If he calls again alleging threats, I'll have to act. Understood? Translation. He donates, you don't. Understood. He left. I kept documenting. By October, the first residents moved in. Moving trucks, kids with boogie boards, the smell of grilled food. I watched a young couple carry a rocking chair into Unit 58, and I felt a knot in my stomach, because these people weren't evil. They were teachers, nurses, retirees who'd scraped together life savings. But Julian was about to learn that theft carries a price far beyond currency. Halloween week, Julian sent a certified letter. I signed for it. Formal letterhead, Elena Rossi's signature. 3 pages of legalese meaning cease trespassing or we sue for harassment. A photo was attached. My Ford parked on the public road, my plate circled in red marker. A handwritten note, documenting all incidents. I drove straight to Cora. She read it, then let out a genuine laugh. They're building our case for us. Every letter, every photo, every interaction is evidence they knew of a competing claim and proceeded anyway. This is perfect. It doesn't feel perfect. It feels like being hunted. You are. But here's the plan. Do nothing. Let them waste resources on threats. Let them generate evidence. We'll file in early December. I became an amateur investigator. Engineers know how to read surveys and permits. Hancock County's online portal showed Sterling Development LLC was registered in Nevada. A red flag. Julian was managing member, but financing came from Atlantic Holdings Group, a Boston investment firm. I dug deeper. Atlantic Holdings had 3 principals. One was married to Julian's sister. His name was Robert Sterling, a developer previously sued for faulty foundations. This was a family operation. The county permits listed the land as previously tax delinquent, acquired via adverse possession claim filed April 2023. But you can't just claim adverse possession. You must prove it in court, get a judgment, and record it before selling. They'd skipped that step. Filed a claim, then immediately sold units as if it were granted. That's premeditated fraud. I sent everything to Cora. She called an hour later. Leo, this is better than I hoped. Robert Sterling has a pattern. If we prove he knew of your ownership and built anyway, this becomes criminal fraud. How? Let me worry about that. You stay quiet. But staying quiet got harder when Julian escalated. November 10th, I got a call from Hancock County Environmental Health. A woman named Lisa Croft. Mr. Vance, we have an anonymous complaint about unauthorized waste dumping on your parcel. I'm obligated to inspect. I drove up, phone recording. The property was pristine, save for the 112 illegal condos. No debris, no spills. Lisa Croft met me, clipboard in hand. She walked the perimeter, inspected, took photos. There's nothing here, she concluded. A false report. Who filed it? She checked her notes. Anonymous, but routed through Mr. Sterling's office as a community concern. So he's trying to fine me for violations that don't exist on land he's occupying. Lisa looked at me a long moment. Off the record? I've inspected 4 Sterling projects. Each had complaints filed against adjacent landowners right before key approvals. It's a tactic. She gave me her card. If you need a witness. By Thanksgiving, 90 units were occupied. Families decorated, kids played, and I had a court date for December 10th. December 2nd, 8 days before court, my son David texted late. Dad, are you okay? There's a post about you on a local Facebook group. I logged on. A post by Julian Sterling. Alert! Individual named Leo Vance has been loitering around our family-oriented Seabreeze Reserve, photographing residents, making families uncomfortable. He makes false ownership claims despite clear legal title. Sheriff's Department is aware. Please report any sightings. Safety first. The comments were toxic. Strangers called me a creep, a scammer. Someone posted a photo of my truck, plate clear. My hands shook. I called Cora. I saw it. Do not respond. Do not comment. Do not engage. He's calling me a stalker, Cora. My son is worried. I know. It's defamation, and we're adding it. But if you engage, you look defensive. This is a desperate move. Screenshot everything. Every share, every comment. It's evidence of malice. I documented for hours. The post was shared hundreds of times. A hashtag appeared. Hashtag Watch for Vance. I didn't sleep. The next morning, my project manager, Karen, called me in. She closed her door. Leo, a potential client, did a background check. This Facebook situation came up. They asked if you'd be lead engineer. I said you're on personal leave until a legal matter resolves. Effective today, you are. She handed me an envelope. 2 weeks, paid. If this clears up, you're back. If not, she didn't finish. I took it. Understood. Walking to my truck, I saw a coworker, Pete. He saw me, turned, and walked the other way. Julian was attacking my life, my reputation, my job. I sat in my truck and called Cora. They're destroying me. I'm on leave. People are avoiding me. I'm filing an emergency motion for a temporary restraining order. Defamation, intentional infliction of distress. Hearing on Monday. She paused. But Leo, it gets worse before better. If you want to walk away, I can negotiate. You'd get something. Maybe a few $100,000. You could move. I thought of Grand's note. Don't let the wolves take what's yours. No, I said. We finish this. Then brace. They'll escalate. She was right. December 5th, someone keyed liar down the side of my truck. I filed a report. The officer took notes without enthusiasm. Any idea who? Check the Facebook post. He sighed. We'll increase patrols. That night, I slept with an old Marine flare gun by my bed. December 8th, 2 days before court, David called, voice shaking. Dad, a man in a suit came to the restaurant where I work. Said he was a background checker. Asked my manager if I was stable, if you had a temper. This could cost me my job. My blood froze. Did he give a name? He left a card, Aaron Finch, Veritas Investigations. I wrote it down. David, if he returns, say nothing. Refer him to my attorney. I called Cora. They hired a PI. Contacting your son's workplace is witness intimidation, a felony. Forward the card. I'm filing another motion. The hits kept coming. December 9th, I got an IRS audit notice for the past 3 years, citing discrepancies reported by a third party. My taxes were simple W-2s. This was harassment. I forwarded it to Cora. They're panicking, she said, throwing everything. The IRS complaint is anonymous, but we can subpoena the PI's client list. If we link it to Sterling, that's another felony. They're making mistakes. Desperate people do. The day before trial, I got a final text from an unknown number. Drop the case or your life burns. I forwarded it to Cora. She replied, Perfect. Bring your phone tomorrow. The Hancock County Courthouse smelled of pine cleaner and old paper. I met Cora outside courtroom 4B at 8:50. She wore a charcoal suit. Ready? She asked. I wasn't. My only suit felt tight. Do we have enough? We have a torpedo. Trust me. We entered. Julian sat at the defense table with Elena Rossi and Robert Sterling. They looked assured. Julian saw me and offered a small, victorious smile. Judge Mara Watanabe entered, 60s, sharp-eyed, no nonsense. Be seated. Case 2023 CV1124, Vance versus Sterling Development et al. She looked at Rossi. Counselor, your motion to dismiss was filed at the 11th hour. Explain. Rossi stood. Your Honor, plaintiff's claim is facially defective. My client holds title via adverse possession. Mr. Vance abandoned the property. Did he pay property taxes? The judge interrupted. Well, technically, but then adverse possession fails under Maine Statute 14-801. What else? I saw Rossi's confidence fracture. The title company verified, Ms. Vance. The judge turned to Cora. Cora stood. Your Honor, we're not here to debate a frivolous adverse possession claim. We're here because the defendants committed deliberate fraud. She opened her briefcase. Exhibit A. An internal email from Robert Sterling to Julian Sterling dated March 15, 2023. She handed copies to the judge and Rossi. Rossi's face paled. Judge Watanabe read it, her eyebrows rising. Counselor Rossi, were you aware of this? Your Honor, this document wasn't in discovery. It was submitted last Tuesday, Cora said smoothly. Perhaps it was overlooked. She slid me a copy. I read it, my pulse hammering. From Robert Sterling, Atlantic Holdings, to Julian Sterling, Sterling Development. Vance Point Parcel, Risk Assessment. Julian, spoke with our title attorney. The Vance parcel is not abandoned. Grandson, Leo Vance, has paid property taxes continuously since 2020. Adverse possession claim will not survive a challenge. However, if we move quickly, file the AP claim, fast-track permits, start sales before he notices, we can create enough momentum that Vance either settles for peanuts or is crushed by legal costs. Worst case, we complete construction, file Chapter 11, let the title insurers fight it. We used this playbook for the Kennebunk Project 2021. Risk, medium. Reward, 22 million plus gross. They knew. From day one, they knew. Your Honor, Cora continued, this email proves intentional fraud. They knew Mr. Vance was the owner. They knew their claim was baseless. They proceeded because they calculated correctly that most people cannot fight a $1 million legal war. Judge Watanabe looked at Robert and Julian. Is this email authentic? Robert began to stand, but Rossi grabbed his arm. We need to consult, Your Honor. That sounds like a yes. The judge closed the folder. Motion to dismiss is denied. Case proceeds on an expedited schedule. Pending resolution, temporary restraining order issued. Sterling Development will cease all sales, marketing, and transfers related to Seabreeze Reserve. She looked at Julian. And Mr. Sterling, if I see one more social media post, one more anonymous complaint to any agency, or one more threat to Mr. Vance, I will hold you in contempt. Clear? Julian's face was sheet white. Yes, Your Honor. Walking out, Cora turned to me. That email? From a whistleblower, a former Atlantic Holdings partner who got ruined in the Kennebunk deal. He's waited years for this. For the first time in months, I breathed. The trial was set for February. In the interim, the discovery process was a bloodletting. The title company, facing liability, turned on the Sterlings, admitting they were pressured to overlook the tax payment history. The private investigators' records were subpoenaed, showing explicit instructions from Julian to dig up anything to make Vance look unstable. The Facebook post, the vandalism, the call to David's job, it all formed a pattern of intimidation. Trial day, February 14th. The gallery was packed with Seabreeze Reserve families. I saw a woman named Anya Patel who'd called me weeping about her life savings. She looked terrified. Cora's opening statement was a masterpiece of clarity and fury. She presented the email, the tax records, the documented harassment. She called witnesses, the title agent, Lisa Croft from Environmental Health, the private investigator who confessed on the stand that his work crossed an ethical line. Robert Sterling took the stand and was dismantled by Cora, trapped in contradictions with his own deposition. Julian invoked the Fifth Amendment. The judge's ruling came 2 days later. We won completely. The order was scathing. A calculated scheme to defraud. It granted me full title to all 28 acres and improvements, the 112 condos. It awarded $5.7 million in damages. It ordered the Sterlings to pay all fees and referred the case for criminal prosecution. Sterling Development dissolved. Robert and Julian's personal assets were liquidated. Robert was indicted on federal fraud charges. Julian took a plea, probation, restitution, a permanent ban from real estate in Maine. Then came the real question. What about the 112 families? I could have evicted them, sold the units, made millions more. The law allowed it. Instead, I called a meeting at the Seabreeze Reserve Club Room. Nearly every family came. I stood with Cora. "I know you're afraid," I began. "You bought in good faith. You are not at fault, and I will not punish you for another's crime." The room was still. "Here's the proposal. I'm transferring ownership of all units to the Seabreeze Community Trust, a nonprofit. Each household will own their unit at the price originally paid. If you paid $625,000, you owe nothing more. The trust will fund infrastructure, taxes, and a scholarship for local students." A gasp. Anya Patel began to cry. The applause started, then built into a roar. People hugged, thanked me, cried. Mr. Rivera shook my hand, tears in his eyes. "Your grandmother would be proud." The scholarship launched that fall, the Leo Vance Memorial Scholarship, for a Maine student pursuing marine biology, engineering, or environmental law. I kept 3 acres at the northern point where the old pines stood, built a modest cabin, sold my townhouse, and moved there. A follow-up story ran in the Globe, from theft to trust. Last month, Anya Patel's son gave me a drawing, a crayon condo with a stick figure, Mr. Leo, holding a giant paper. It's on my fridge. I think of Gran's note. "Don't let the wolves take what's yours." She was right. But what's mine isn't just land. It's knowing 112 families sleep secure because I didn't quit. It's a scholarship that will help a kid. It's justice. The real kind. The kind that rebuilds. So, my question to you, ever face down a powerful entity that thought you'd roll over? Share your story below. Let's build an archive of how regular people stand their ground. If this story resonated, hit subscribe. Next week, the city tried to seize my family's workshop for a parking lot. I found a 19th century covenant that stopped them cold. See you then, and remember, keep your records, every single one.